the gift of gab, that ability to talk with ease to anyone. It's something not everyone is born with.
Small talk or chit-chat just isn't a female thing or a waste of time even. Experts say casual conversations can help you really connect with friends or people you've just met.
Joining us now is etiquette expert Aimee Symington with a few suggestions to help us become better conversationalists. Aimee, good morning to you.
Good morning.
I love this topic. It is important to be a good conversationalist. Why do you think that's the case?
Well, it really is. I mean, there was an article recently in Forbes magazine based on a study that the University of Michigan did talking about how important it is to be a good conversationalist. Because it helps you both personally and professionally. And so that's whether you are just making small talk with your neighbor or someone you meet at a party or someone that you work with. But they say that by being able to make conversation, that it helps you out because it makes you smarter.
It makes you smarter.
Yes, because you're actually able to learn things. As we talk, as I ask about you and we engage in conversation, you learn things, you expand your knowledge base, so it makes you smarter. It also helps you to feel good because as we develop those bonds, whether it's with somebody at the checkout line or the neighbor, you develop the bonds and you create these friendships. It makes you feel good, especially if you're helping somebody in that conversation. And also because it helps you not just personally, but when you're being interviewed, let's say, and you're able to make pleasant conversation with the interviewer, it can help you get that job. It can help you get promoted in your job. So it's really a skill that we need to know. The problem is that because of all the electronic communication that we're doing nowadays, we're either losing our ability to be able to make small talk, or the young generation is actually just not learning how to do it.
So what's the first step in becoming a good conversationalist?
Well, Wall Street Journal, they recommend, an article that they just put out was that the #1 thing is actually make eye contact. Strangely enough.
Just eye contact.
It's eye contact, is to show that you are self-confident when you are in front of somebody, but it also shows that you're listening to them. I think, personally, that one of the best things you can do is to ask questions of the other person. Especially if you're shy or you're uneasy in talking about yourself, you can ask, so how was your day? Or, just ask questions about the other person. I think a great analogy for being a good conversationalist is kind of if you think about playing volleyball. So I have that ball, that conversation in my court, and I would say something and then I'd throw it over to you and I'd ask you a question or I'd engage you in a conversation. You then throw it back over to me and we kind of go back and forth. So I think if you can think about sort of keeping that conversation going, you want to share personal things about yourself, but not too personal. You want to ask questions about people, but not too personal of questions either.
Is it a good idea maybe to have some topics in your back pocket, just some things to think about if you know you're going to a party and it doesn't come easy for you? To have a few topics at hand.
Yeah, absolutely, because a lot of people are shy or they just don't know what to say to people. And so I think if you can maybe be up on the latest news or even talk about the weather, whatever it might be, is to then, so you feel a little bit more comfortable. Or you can have sort of some openers in mind, like instead of just saying, so how are you today? Which can be a very boring opener, you might say, so what's new? And that creates the other person to say, oh, well, I just did so-and-so, and you can kind of get the conversation rolling that way.
Are there some topics that you should definitely avoid when you're trying to be a good conversationalist?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's things you should avoid. You should not talk about anything that's going to make the other person feel upset or bored even, or, just sort of get the, feathers ruffled, let's say. So you don't want to engage in that type of conversation. You don't want to just give one-word answers. You don't want to just talk about yourself. And we certainly know those people that tend to do that, and then you just don't want to talk to that person much anymore. So you want to avoid some of those things, for sure.
The things that are too personal, don't share too much. You touched on that, but don't just spill your guts right off the bat. Not right off the bat.
Exactly. Yes, you want to be able to just, keep that conversation going. Think of that volleyball net and just really try and, look people in the eye and don't get too distracted by other things as well, whether it's looking at your cell phone or, looking around.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Don't be that person. If you're talking to somebody, it is really insulting if that person is sort of, and they're looking everywhere else and they're looking at their phone. It's insulting. So don't be that person.
No.
Just engage and be present.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Aimee Symington, FinesseWorldwide.com. FinesseWorldwide.com is Aimee's website. Thank you very much.
Sure, thank you.